Yeah.
Right, let's go live. Welcome to another episode of the Pedestrian podcast. Just the usual fare today. Won't hold up too much with intros. It's myself, Stuart Court, and as ever, Mr. Adam Nathan. How are we, sir?
I'm good, but let's get on with it. No one needs to hear about how I am.
Yeah. Because there's also a former fourth-round pick, a 10-year NFL vet, all of them so far with the Seahawks, a 2020 Steve Largent Award winner, and one of the franchise's all-time greats. From Mississippi State to a staple in Seattle. Welcome to the Pedestrian podcast, KJ Wright.
What's up, fellas? So glad to to be here. This is my first international podcast, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
you've done ESPN and Sirius, and now it's time to get serious. With real journalists like me and Stu.
I'm with it.
A caterer and a supermarket and worker and a stadium announcer. So yeah, this is serious now.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I mean, variety is important, I guess, isn't it, at the minute? So that's what we do appreciate you taking the time. You've been in the league a while now. It's six weeks or so since the Seahawks season ended. How do you approach off seasons differently in 2021 to what like rookie or second, third year KJ Wright would have or did?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. If it was my rookie year or second year, I would have been in the gym 2 weeks after the season, just getting back at it. But I've learned over the years your body definitely needs to rest, and so I've been enjoying myself. I haven't picked up a weight since the season ended. Me and my family took a trip out to Mexico to get some sunshine, and so yeah, I'm just enjoying myself right now. So it's night and day how I approach when the season ends.
Yeah, back in 2011, you were, as I said, fourth round pick. Lofa Tupu had left. Leroy Hill, though, was still there in the linebacker room. But it was a pretty young defense. Obviously, you entered the league with Richard Sherman, Malcolm Smith, Cam and Earl were in their second year. How important was someone like Leroy Hill in that locker room, and especially being a linebacker next to you on the field and on the practice field?
Yeah, I mean, Leroy is my guy, man. He was there in Seattle. I think he was like on his 6th, 7th year. So he was a guy that experienced a lot of football, a lot of success. And him and Lofa was part of that Super Bowl team that played the Steelers. And so he was going to Super Bowls, and so those two guys are important in my life. I still talk to Lofa to this day, man. And so two guys I really looked up to, and then I saw how they treated me coming in as a rookie, and so I was like, okay, guys are just welcoming me with open arms. So when I become a vet, I got to do the same thing, and so it's cool. That's how it all works out.
Yeah, Adam.
I've got a friend that's trying to get into the NFL, and he said to me, do you know who the best 5 teams are? And I was saying, well, you don't, because then there's a draft, and then you kind of see. And actually going from 2011, a solid team, and then 2012 comes in, Russ comes in the team, Bobby comes in the team. Is there a feeling in the locker room of like, okay, this is serious now? Because you've added some pieces that, like, is there a moment, or does it just happen sort of organically as you go through the weeks?
Well, when Bobby and Russ came, you didn't know, like, all right, we just drafted guys. The moment that I knew that this team was going to be good was when we lost in the playoffs to who did we lose to? Who did we lose to in the second year?
Atlanta.
There you go. So I knew watching that season, like, because we was rolling, like, these young guys coming in, Russ was just putting up 40+ points a game, and we were just blowing teams out. And I was like, okay, we got something good going on here. And then we beat the Redskins in the playoffs and lost to Atlanta. And so I knew after that season, okay, this team is for real. So we had all our pieces together. No one really left the team after that year. And so, okay, next year, I think we'll be pretty good. So that was my personal moment when I figured it out.
And is there a moment in practice where you're seeing these unbelievable players like Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, all these incredible guys? And in soccer here, you always hear players say, oh my God, you should see what this guy does in training and practice. Is there a moment in practice training where you just think, oh my goodness, this guy is just another level?
Yeah, well, we use Russ, for example, because remember, guys, the year Russell came here, we had Matt Flynn as our quarterback, signed his big contract, supposed to be the future. Okay, so Russ comes in as a rookie, and everybody's looking around like, this rookie is way better than the guy that the Seahawks paid. Because you just see like his consistency, his, his speed when, as a rookie, like this dude's gonna be really good. And so there's not just a single moment, but as you could progress throughout training camp and OTAs, guys just gravitated to him. And it's like, we want this guy as our quarterback. And so he just took off and never looked back.
How quickly did that happen with you and Bobby? Because obviously 10 years on, you two are still the linchpins. You were a massive part of the defense this year. Again, all the way through, they were like, it's right, KJ's there, Bobby's there. How immediate was that with Bobby, and how has that progressed over there?
See, me and Bobby got two different, like, I guess, success stories. When I came in, the way that I was able to become a starter was someone got hurt in front of me. David Hawthorne got injured during training camp. So they was looking around, and it's like, KJ, go to Mike Backer. I was like, okay, I can do that. And so went to Mike Backer, and then Huter came back. And then I did really well. And so they saw how well I did, and then moved me to the Sam position. And so I just took over that for the whole, 2 years. And the way Bobby was drafted high in the draft. So they said, hey, you're our guy. And they put Bobby right in the starting lineup as soon as he came in as a rookie. And he hasn't looked back ever since. And so each guy has a different stories. Like Richard Sherman, for example, he didn't play until like midway through the season because it was like 2 injuries had to happen for Sherman to get his spot. And so everybody's story is different, but that's just how, our 3 played out.
What was not playing rookie Richard Sherman like Monday to Saturday? Because like as soon as he jumped on the field, he was intercepting Andy Dalton with AJ Green. What was not playing rookie Sherman like?
Sherman was good, but also the guys in front of Sherman was good too. It was Marcus Trufant, and I believe it was Walter Thurman, if I'm not mistaken. So the guys in front of them were just as good as Sherman. And, Sherman was picking off stuff in practice. But when he got out there in the game, yeah, you guys got a good memory. Just, picking off, it was going against AJ Green. That was like his first, coming out moment. And Sherman hasn't looked back since. And just to see guys in practice, because, we preach practice is everything in Seattle. And you earn your stripes in practice. And when it comes to game time, it'll transition over.
Was that just the perfect sweet spot, that 2013 team of the perfect mixture of young, hungry guys, some vets that on, shorter deals that had come in to plug the holes that might be, the Cliff Averill. Did you guys, and you guys are supremely confident guys. We know that. We've all seen the Americas team and stuff like that. Deep down, did you kind of know it was only ending one way that season?
Yeah, it was, like you said, it was a perfect blend of young guys just still under their rookie contracts, like Earl and Cam still on the rookie contracts. And then you bring in 2 vets like Mike B and Cliff that just brought a whole new personality, whole new dynamic. And we just, gelled really well together. It was a lot of guys that had a lot to prove, a lot of guys that loved each other, a lot of guys that just wanted to be great. And I'm telling you, man, on that football field, if you wasn't on your A game, you're not making any plays. And so we all had to be on our A game to just hang with the rest of the guys, or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah. In 2013, we've asked, on obviously Super Bowl 48, we asked Cliff, and we had Michael Robinson on a few years ago. We asked him this question: and what part of the game prep in that lead up to that Super Bowl did they know that the Seahawks were winning that game? You were leaving New York with a new bit of jewelry. They pretty much gave the same answer Tuesday, Wednesday. Was that the same for you in the linebacker room with Bobby?
What did they say?
They said Tuesday, Wednesday of the first week.
They were spot on. I knew when we watched film, I was watching film and I was like, is this the offense that people are saying will be hard to stop? Because, ton of respect for Peyton Manning, all-time legend. But what I was seeing on film was more bad defense than anything. And I saw a lot of guys just playing really unsound defense. I was like, guys, if we just play really good sound defense and play like we know we could play, this game does not have to be close. And so we went out there and 48 to 8. Yeah, 48 to 8. And, the rest is history.
Just to jump away from chronology a little bit, there isn't a sport, I don't think, that the stuff you study on tape happens on the field, anything like in American football. Can you talk us through a play whereby You've studied this on tape. And I'm not asking for X's and O's. You don't need to give away the playbook or anything. But is there a play that's in your mind? Like for me, I think about your sack of Kyla Murray this year. Is there a play that you can think like from the huddle to the signals, what you're looking at, that you've seen, okay, I've studied this. This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm looking at, to the execution? Because nothing fascinates me more than what you guys are actually seeing at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I gave you a prime example. This is not my play in particular, but this was Richard Sherman's play. He was playing the Houston Texans, like 2013, 2014. And they ran this same play on short yardage. It'd be 3rd and 1. And those guys, they're going to bootleg out to their right. And we're going to call this defense when we get in this situation. And so we're playing in the game, going at the fourth quarter comes. It's 3rd and 1. Ball was on our right hash. And everybody in the stadium, well, not everybody said it, but everybody on the defense knew what play was about to get called. And on this particular play, Sherman would be in the flat area because the quarterback would throw it out there, and Cam would blitz off the edge. And so perfect play. They ran the play we knew they was going to run. Cam blitz off the edge. Sherman sitting there, got through it, pick 6. So teams give away what they're going to do by film study and by preparation. You can attack stuff like that.
Yeah, like in that game, in that season, like the score, it was a pretty, like the scoreboard was slanting in your favor. When things like that, moments like that happen, and when you come out with a win, as you did in that Houston game, that surely must be like, as you like, it's in line with what you're thinking of how that season is going to end, isn't it? Like you kind of, if we can do this, we're going to do X, Y, Z.
Oh yeah, no doubt. When you have those moments, those are like pivotal moments, and going to the Super Bowl, like, because think about it, if Trump didn't make that play, who knows? We couldn't have gotten home field advantage in the playoffs, or we could have been a wild card team because San Fran was pretty dang good too. And so it was just those pivotal moments that we made throughout that season that just propelled us to get a bye week and then get home field advantage.
Yeah, on that Kyla play, I mean, I think we talked about it a few times in this pod, Adam. It's one of my favorite plays from the season because it was just, it's insane to watch from someone like a mere mortal as myself and Adam are. And I think Bobby this year gave you a moniker for how good you are in the screen game and defending against screens. How easy was that for you to get a feel for it, and that we can just see a play in pre-snap and just know, right, I'm going to go downhill here and shut everything off they're trying to do?
Yeah, I've really just been blessed with really good instincts. It's really God-given. And plus, on film study, with that Kyla Murray play that you guys talked about, we called a defense. There was another short yardage play. And Carlos Dunlap, I credit Carlos Dunlap for me making that tackle. He was like, when Kyla Murray gets in this position, he always likes to stutter and then take off running. And so he said, when you get in the open field with Kyla Murray, you better attack him this way. I said, bro, I saw the same thing. And so I kid you not, Kyla Murray keeps the ball on the quarterback. And I was like, okay, by film study, he should do this. And so I took the proper angle and made the play. So we all work together, man. It's a beautiful story. Football is an ultimate team sport. And, I give a lot of that credit to Dunlap.
That's amazing.
When you see something and committing to it like that, when maybe your instincts tell you to do something else, how do you coach yourself? Is it something that starts at, Pop Warner football all the way through to trust your instincts and trust what you see, as opposed to taking what us idiots would do and just, well, he's definitely not going there?
Well, fellas, early in my career, like, I was sometimes hesitant. Coach Norton would tell this story all the time, how we was playing the St. Louis Rams. They was killing us my rookie year, and I wouldn't run through the gap. And for whatever reason, I was just trying to be perfectly and fit things up. And then I finally just ran through and just trusted it. And then, okay, I said, football is not a perfect game. Sometimes you just got to go, and whatever happens will happen. And so I used to always try to be this person that would try to fit things up properly, but I had to get that out of my game. That's why you see the plays that I'm making out, because you just got to let it loose, but it got to be calculated risk as well.
Just quickly back to 2013 Super Bowl 48. Obviously, after Percy's kickoff return, which is, as we said before in this pod, one of my favorite sporting moments of teams I've watched. Did the scoreboard in that second half kind of allow, or did you allow yourself, because of the scoreboard, to kind of savor the moments as they kind of envelope you in the game wrapped up and you were getting your hands on that trophy?
Yeah, that moment, no, not when he scored. I mean, obviously that was a beautiful moment. We all knew at halftime Percy was going to score, but The game, it wasn't that far. Like, it was a score. It was probably up by 3 touchdowns.
29, I think it was.
Yeah, that's not far enough to say you got the game won. So I didn't really just let it soak in until it was like till the second string guys win. I was like, okay, we got this game won. And so hugging Coach Carroll on the sideline, that was pretty cool. And so you never want to get too ahead of yourself, but when the second string guys went in, that's when I knew, okay, this game's over.
Also,
do you prefer a time where you can enjoy it like that, or did you kind of perversely enjoy the championship game a bit more when you can win it in the last second?
You know, it's funny, like watching all those Super Bowl games, how it comes down to the wire. You know, those is games that we all love and live for. But when you're like a fan and when you're a player, like blowout games are A-okay. You know, you can sit back and relax and don't got to be stressed. And, you know, I didn't get too many of those moments this year. We only blew out the Jets, I believe. But when you do blow out teams, that's just as good as a tight-knit game. So I prefer blowout wins.
Also, a few weeks ago on Super Bowl, Cliff Favell said on TV coverage over here that he thought the MVP that year should have been spliced up to every defensive player on the Seahawks. Is that something that you agree with, or?
I definitely agree with it. And you know, we were amazing, man. I can't wait to like we know how good we were, but we won't really truly appreciate it till like 10 years down the line when we actually look at the resume we put together, look how teams was just, you know, kind of intimidated of us. You know, I believe that when you talk about the 85 Bears, the steel curtain of the Steelers, you know, you definitely got to talk about the Seattle Seahawks as being the top 5 greatest defenses ever.
When you did it for years, I mean, I'm just thinking in my head that I don't know why I remember this, but against the Cardinals, I think on the last game of a couple of seasons later, I think the backups were in and we blew them out. It was the year that Arizona were really good, but you guys were celebrating like crazy on the sideline because I think you just had your 3rd or 4th year in a row of the best scoring defense. And I don't know why I'm remembering that, but I think it's just the motivation. It's an iron sharpen iron thing, but is that something that comes from the coaches, or is it, you know, you want to do so well for the man next to you, or a collective effort that makes you want to be great at all times?
It's definitely a collective effort. Coach Carroll always preaches compete. He always preaches finishing, and so that's the culture in that building. That building has a culture of you got to be the best version of yourself if you want to step on this football field. And then when you add that element of guys, you bring in guys that gel really well together, guys that have a similar background story. Like I was undrafted. I mean, I was a late round guy. Quandre Diggs was, you know, he was a mid round guy. Michael Bennett went undrafted. So you gel those guys together, and it's like we can be really special because we love each other. We care about each other. And so when you mix coaching and players buying into it, you can do beautiful things.
Yeah. On one of those coaches, Ken Norton was your linebacker coach, and now obviously he's defensive coordinator. He took some pouters during the season. Lofa, when we had him on a few weeks ago, talked unbelievably glowingly when he played for him at USC. What was the building like? What was the feel in that building like, the defensive room? When I'm sure you pick up on the whispers and the criticism he was getting, because like his coaching career and his playing career and his obviously his bloodline as well is pretty much a match is Ken Norton Jr., isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to have, you know, Coach Norton, that's my guy. And took me in as a rookie. And when he left to go to Oakland, I was just devastated. But when he came back, I was like, thank you. This is like everything we dreamed about. And for him to come in, you know, be successful. We've been in the playoffs each time he's been here. And we was definitely struggling early in the season, but his leadership and his, you know, he puts in a crazy amount of hours to make sure that this defense is successful. And we definitely figured it out, man. We definitely figured out how to play better defense, and just his leadership and just his, unrelentless work ethic. We got it done.
Yeah, Adam.
There's obviously a flip side to the just incredible greatness that you guys had, and there was obviously just a horrific moment in Arizona. And with the Super Bowl comes around, all everyone wants to talk about is what happened with Malcolm Butler in 49. And I think everyone's talked that to death enough. But it was interesting. I read Cam Chancellor's article in the Players Tribune about, how the team reacted. And I think you mentioned that on a podcast recently about the reaction and trying to get over it. And I was thinking that you guys were all supremely strong, powerful people, and your personality lended itself to, we'll throw something at us and we'll throw it back twice as hard. In hindsight, I don't really know how to explain this. Would you guys maybe have been better off sort of owning it and discussing it as the season went on and using it as a vulnerability as opposed to trying to bury it, which I just don't see how it's possible to bury something like that. Like the fans still talk about it today. Same as Atlanta. Like I feel like you guys are such a strong group of characters that you could have taken it as motivation. Like, yeah, that happened to us and we're going to throw it right back in your face and come back.
I agree 100% with you. It was, that moment still it still sits with me to this day. And it hasn't been gotten over. It hasn't been gotten over because it hasn't been collectively talked about as a team. And it's pretty unfortunate that carried over us because it carried over us for so many years. And so it was something that very unfortunate, very shocking. And I guess no one at the time really knew how to handle it. No one knew what to do, what to say. But hindsight, looking back at it, we definitely should have opened the floor for a conversation. But it didn't get done, and that's unfortunate.
Has anything changed in the? Obviously, you're still in Seattle. You still played in the Pete Carroll for 6-7 years since then. Hopefully, a few more as well. But did anything change with yours and Bobby's and players who were still there for a few years after? Did anything change in that dynamic with you and Pete and the guys who made that decision?
Mm-hmm. We definitely now 2021 doesn't get talked about anymore. It's that same feeling is not in the locker room. It took about 3-4 years to actually kind of get over it and in the locker room. But right now, we've definitely moved past it as a team. And now this unit that we have is, it's gotten over it, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously in those few years, Sherman left, Earl Thomas left, Cam and Cliff had to retire, Mike Bennett left, and then you've got the new wave with Quandre, you got Jamal, and then obviously Carlos Dunlap joined the party midway through this season. All the while you were in the heart of everything. Did you ascend to more of a leadership role when the Shermans had gone, or was that something you were already in before?
Yeah, I already had the leadership before, but when voices leave, more voices need to step up and show guys, how it's done. And I had no problem with that. When we was going through our problems this season, I had to stand up hey guys, we're not getting it done. Let's tighten this up. And so it all comes natural. Me and Bobby, we work extremely well together. There's some moments he'd be like, hey man, you talk to the fellas, and I'd be like, I don't want to talk to him. You talk to him. And so we definitely, we're yin and yanging off each other, and so it works out. It works out really well.
Is it any differences between playing with the Jamal and Quandre than it was playing with Earl and Cam behind you? Is there any differences to that, or is it just picking up the trust?
Well, each guy is extremely different, personality wise. But when it comes down to the field, the chemistry is amazing. And so they all four are extremely different guys. Each Cam had his own skill set. Jamal brings a completely different skill set, but it's all really special and really successful. And so, I love, all four of those dudes and enjoy playing with them. And so it's been fun since day one.
Yeah. Adam?
Comparison is obviously the ultimate flattery, and the standard you guys set in 2012, 13 onwards is the pinnacle, right? So every time a running back comes into the roster, there's beast mode comparisons. Can he do what Marshall Lynch did? Every time there's a cornerback drafted, it's can he do what Richard Sherman did? A safety, can he be like Cam Chancellor? And I'm thinking that you and Bobby have probably been the best position group in the NFL for close to a decade. I don't think I'm overhyping it too much when I don't think anyone has had that level of performance for 10 years in a 3-year career like it normally is. That's incredible. Do you guys think about the legacy of the position and that guy's the next KJ Wright? Because right now we can't say that because you're still here, thankfully. But is that something you guys talk about and think about going forward with the BBK and Cody Barton?
Yeah, I mean, I believe with me and Bobby, like what we've done has been, unreal. We both should definitely, when it's all said and done, Bobby being Hall of Fame, I should be in the Ring of Honor.
Hmm.
But what we've done, like leadership wise, what we've done playmaking wise, has been truly special. And you see teams, they started like when teams started copying our defense, they tried to find guys like who's going to be like the Bobby of the defense, who's going to be like the KJ of the defense. Like when Dan Quinn went to Atlanta and Gus Bradley went to Jacksonville, I believe they tried to find that same style. And so, we've definitely set a great standard. And when it's all, said and done and we're done playing, the Seahawks got some big shoes to fill at linebacker.
Yeah, one of those guys is entering his second year. Obviously you saw him in the building from rookie walking into rookie leaving the building 6-7 weeks ago. What do the Seahawks have alongside you, hopefully, in Jordan Brooks in a linebacker? Because he seemed to ascend as the defense ascended, his playing time and his impact on the field did with that too, didn't it?
Yeah, early in the season, me and Brooks were splitting time, and you could definitely see that throughout the season, he started figuring it out. He started getting more comfortable, started taking his shots, started celebrating when he made plays, and so he's a guy that definitely has all like the tools to be successful. He got the speed, got the size, got the hidden power, and so I believe once he puts together a full offseason of understanding the defense, understanding his role and what he's going to do, then the sky's the limit for him. So next year should be even better.
Yeah, Adam?
It's obviously the ultimate team sport because there can't be any weak links, but you literally saw a guy drafted with a view to kind of taking your position one day, if we're being honest. How hard is it to be the best teammate and do the best for the team when actually that could see you, not getting as much tape and impacting your future that you want to keep playing in?
Yeah, I mean, when the Seahawks drafted a linebacker first round, I honestly wasn't surprised. I was coming to my 10th year, contract year, had my shoulder surgery. And so you got to understand, it's hard, but you got to understand that the organization is doing what they think is best for the organization. And you got to do your very best to keep your feelings out of it. And so my biggest concern was, will I even be on the team? Will I be in my same position? So that's what I wanted to get understanding on. But at the end of the day, like he's coming in, he's going to need some help. He's going to need somebody to show him the ropes. And just, you hear about some guys just shunning guys off, like, I'm not here to help you. You're on your own. My vets didn't treat me that way. And so you got to show guys how it's supposed to be done because it's a circle of life. Football is a turnover league. And so there's no point in just not helping guys because, if he's going to play, he's going to play anyway. So you might as well make the team better versus just being selfish.
So obviously last season was different with everything going on in the world. What kind of impact did you feel not having Seahawks fans? Obviously, I think did you only play one game with fans in the stadium?
Two. It's Miami and Arizona.
Oh, yeah. So what was that like playing at CenturyLink Field? To pretty much you could hear every breath taken, I guess, can you?
Yeah, I mean, when you come out the tunnel, I used to always look up in the stands and just see just blue and green everywhere. And that was like one of my pregame rituals and favorite part of the day, but that was non-existent this year. And it sucked. It definitely sucked. But when you do get out there on the football field and once the ball is hiked, I got to worry about this person that's in front of me. And so they tried to pump in the noise to make it seem, as real as it could, but it definitely wasn't the same. But at the end of the day, when we were playing football, that's when we were like, all right, nothing else matters but this person. So we definitely do miss the 12s, and hopefully next year, we get some fans in the stands.
Yeah, Adam?
You mentioned circle of life when it comes to, people coming in and whatever, but in a way, your last 12 months have been a reverse of what you'd expect. You're now sitting here with people talking about you rightly as a top 10 linebacker and, the contract that you're going to be due. Whereas last year, I feel like a lot of people were flippantly saying, oh, well, you just cut KJ because that's $8 million in cap space. And to be honest, we probably said that on this podcast because we would, just trying to talk about what's going on and, how does it work? And is that what you do? And it's made me think more about how you have to talk about these things and treat these things. But in a way, the year you had, it's kind of, you've almost Benjamin Buttoned the last year, and you're now in a position where you'd expect going into year 9 versus year 10, as opposed to the other way around. Is there a feeling of immense satisfaction about what you achieved last year and how that's going to set you up for the next few years? Because this time last year, it kind of felt a bit dicier for the rest of where you were going.
Yeah, I mean, by what you just said, it just re-angered me because I heard all that chatter all off season. Cut KJ, we don't need him. He's old. We got a first round linebacker. Let's get him out of here. And that stuff really pissed me off. I can't lie. I was livid. And so I took that chatter and put it into my craft, if that makes sense. I took that and put that into my mind. Like, I'm going to make every single person eat their words. And they better not ever speak ill on my name again. I was that upset. And so that was my mindset. That's the way that I approached the game. I was so consistent in my routine, so consistent in my diet, so consistent in my film study. And I knew that this 10th year was everything that I looked for. I looked for this moment since I was a kid, and nobody's going to mess this moment up. And so, God willing, it was amazing. And, does that, when people do talk good about me, does that make me feel even better? No, it really doesn't, because I got to keep that chip on my shoulder to keep it going. You know what I mean? I got to keep that. I'm not satisfied with the pat on the back. Pat on the backs do nothing for me. Throughout my whole career, I've been told that I wasn't good enough. And so that's what I'm going to approach the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You said earlier this week that the Seahawks are yet to reach out. Obviously, that's hopefully going to be something that's corrected in the next few weeks. From the outside looking in, it just seems like a really unique position that you're currently in. Obviously, a free agent, you've put 10 years worth of, as you say, Ring of Honor worthy, one of the best players to ever put on the Seahawks uniform. Is that what it's like on the wheel, as it were? It's just like a really weird, unique process you're going to be going through the next few weeks?
Yeah, this is my second time going through it. And, it's the unknown is what's the most weird part about it. Like, do the Seahawks even want me? Do other teams want me? What they're going to offer? So it's just so much unknown. And it's a weird place to be in. Like, I know you guys see like, oh, this person signed for, $50 million, his life is good. But the moments leading up to that, it can be a little stressful. And so I'm doing my best to just, control what I can control and just trust the process. And, we'll see what's out there.
Well, one of our friends, Gordon Wright, has your jersey. I think he wants to keep wearing his jersey just so he thinks he plays for the Seahawks with the same surname as you as well. Outside of the lines, though, as you said, we've seen Cliff, I think DJ Fluker, Cam, Doug, Justin Britt. I think Sherm still is based, his family is in Seattle. What is it about the area that makes it so easy to set up generationally? That's you'd say. And is it going to be holding the same for you whenever you post the cleats over the telegraph pole like Marshawn did?
Yeah, I mean, this place is special, man. I live up in the mountains and, just have lakes and mountains and just different diversity and different foods. Like, I grew up in Mississippi. It's pretty, black, white, and just, it's pretty simple, just farmland. But this place, it has a whole new dynamic. Vancouver, Canada is right up the road. And so I love it here, man. I don't plan on, I don't want to leave. I love it here. My wife, she wants to go to Florida, so we may split, like, to have Florida, have Seattle. But this place is amazing. I plan on being here.
Is there any indication of what free agency might be like in a COVID world? Because I feel sorry for you. You can't make these teams take you out for the best dinner in the city and then say, no, sorry, I'm going back. Is there any indication of what it might be like?
Well, we I guess I can ask a few guys, because last year, COVID had hit during free agency. And but I'm not sure what it would be like. I'm sure it'd be Zoom calls and phone calls. And I believe right now you could possibly, bring guys in the building, just stay masked up. But yeah, I have no idea. We got to wait and see what that looks like. I do believe they would send you on a private jet, though, if they do bring me. I
They
think that's
better.
what they would do.
They better do it.
That'd be cool.
I don't even pick the phone up if they're not offering a private jet. I'm not an agent, but that's the one. Don't even pick the phone up.
Exactly.
So 2.5 years ago, the team made the trip over here. You weren't on that trip, I don't believe. Is that something that you kind of had pangs about missing out on, or have you made the trip independently over here to the UK?
Yeah, that trip definitely did hurt. I was looking forward to that moment to go to the UK, but no, the only time I've been to London was when I was going to Africa. I was going to Africa and I had a layover in London at that airport. What's that airport called again?
Guys, Heathrow, Gatwick.
Yeah. So that's the only time I've been there, but I definitely do plan on making like a trip all across Europe one day.
Well, you've got an open invite to all our shindigs over here whenever time suits.
It's an interesting off season in the sense that players seem to be much more confident about speaking out about their future. Deshaun Watson has probably been a bit of a trailblazer in the way in which he's spoken about his future in Texas. That can only be a good thing in the NFL for players to feel like they've got more of a voice. I was thinking about Josh Rosen today, who came out as the number 10 pick in the NFL, got given two horrendous situations in Arizona and Miami, and now kind of doesn't have a career. As the years go on, do you envisage there's going to be more player power that comes into that? Because it does feel like you guys don't get enough of a say in what happens with your career, and certainly in the formative years.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that our window is so short in the NFL, and you can't just sit back and just let it go to waste. And so for him to just speak up and voice what he wants, because I hear that there was a lot of miscommunication where he was, and so the NBA does it. I believe the NBA has it figured out, and I believe that we can voice what we want, and I believe it's a beautiful thing. It's a players' league, and we put the people in the stands, and people watch us on TV, and so we definitely do need more of a voice.
Also, in Seattle, with obviously Pete Carroll stepped onto the plinth really after after George Floyd last summer. He kind of was the one NFL coach who come out and actually said his piece. In Seattle, that seems to be, to a certain extent, a more open approach to be able to have your voices. Because we had Sherman, who said some remarkably ridiculous things as he was making his name, and then you got Marshall, who said one thing just before he retired. And is Pete Carroll someone who can aid that kind of conversation from the players? Obviously not in contract negotiations, I guess, or personnel decisions maybe, but is the environment he curates helpful for that?
Yeah, I believe that in any Coach Carroll is really good at creating that environment for us. He gives us that freedom. He gives us that platform. And during this entire movement last year with George Floyd, with Jacob Blake, we struggled personally as Black men in the United States, and he recognized that. And so he definitely created the floor for us and opened the floor for us to express ourselves. And it was personally therapeutic for me to just voice that and how I was feeling. And so, I told him, I'm forever grateful for his leadership as a coach, because he didn't have to do that. But he always takes those moments and knows that those are bigger than football.
Did that change a lot in a few years? Because I remember after the game in Tennessee, I think, which was just after Kaepernick started taking the knee, and there was a lot of more social justice discussion and players were being encouraged to talk more. I think Pete made mention that the team may have been too emotional going into a game, and that may have been a reason for losing. Have you seen that change in the 3 or 4 years that players have been supported to be much more outspoken and show your beliefs? Because again, that only seems like it can be a good thing for players to be able to express themselves properly.
Yeah, because as NFL athletes, we're the leaders, we're the voices in the country. And so if we're not standing up for something, we're not voicing how we feel, then who will? And so there's a lot of young kids out there that's looking up to us, and there's if Bobby Wagner doesn't say anything, then why should I? I should just be quiet and just stay in my place. And so we definitely have that responsibility, and that we got to be bigger than athletes. We have to use our voice, use our platform. And like my wife, for example, she put on a march for the city of Seattle, and it was amazing just to continue bring awareness to our struggle here in this country, so we can make things better.
Yeah, Adam?
No, I mean that it's just really interesting because the the shut up and dribble and all that stuff, that there's been such a horrible and it's probably led by political leaders, unfortunately, but there's been such a horrible permeation of racism, let's call it what it is, from leaders into suppressing players because you're just an athlete, so you should do this. But presumably that's something that gets discussed in the locker room, which is a hugely eclectic place with races, religions, colors, whatever. So having that confidence to stand up, is that something you've grown into as you've gotten older and gone into it, or you've seen that in the younger guys as well?
Yeah, I believe that it's definitely, I personally grew more into it because I was that guy that I was worried about what would people say about me, what would they think about me, would the fans not like me? But at the end of the day, I'm going to be a black man for the rest of my life. And so I can't worry about this football life. I have children that I got set examples where I have, nieces and nephews that are looking up to me and like, KJ, what, you got to be the voice for the voiceless. And so I definitely had to grow in my own shell and grow comfortable and being that guy. And so each guy is different. Some guys come right out the gate, but some guys grow into the person that they are when they get older.
So we got a few Patreon members who've thrown some questions your way, KJ. Just quickly go through it. Dave Sayer said, during the season, how much does KJ notice the praise and or criticism on social media? And how, after all hit your time in the league, do you use it as fuel on Sundays?
Well, during the season, I delete my Twitter. I get rid of Twitter, and because Twitter is it's messy. It's very messy. So I delete my Twitter during the season. So I'm pretty zoned in. So I don't really hear the criticism through the season. I had enough of it in the off season.
Dan Cohen asked, what was it like playing at the heart of a defense that will, as you say, go down as one of the best in history? And did you realize the levels that you were hitting at the time?
It's something that it's a memory that'll last a lifetime, and we're forever brothers. We always get together each off season, and I love all those guys tremendously. So that's like the best part of it. It's like you do it when you're younger, but you still boys when it's all said and done. And so I'm glad to be a part of it, and we're gonna have a 30 for 30 one day, and I'll kick back and just reminisce on the good old days.
I mean, it's something we've said on this podcast that us as fans really did not appreciate as it was unfolded. And then obviously we sit back and watch Richard Sherman play for the 49ers. You're like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool, those 5-6 years that they were all together. And Brogan Cusper asked, the one-handed pick against the Vikings or the hit on Kyle Juszczyk, what was your favorite moment on the excellent season in 2020?
Oh, I gotta pick one. Ooh.
Or another one. I think he's open to.
Nah, those two were very fun. That's a hard one.
You were talking with Juszczyk during that game. There was some blood going on there.
Yeah, because I personally know him and I faced him so many times. I'm gonna have to go with Juszczyk. It was just the perfect bang play, and it was just clean and knocked. His feet went up in the air, and so. Yeah, it don't get much better than that.
And also with no crowd, we heard Bobby Wagner's effervescent reaction to it as well.
Yeah.
But also with the pick against the Vikings, is that something again which would go back to tape study? Because obviously you read the play, you were in a pretty much perfect position to cut the underthrown Kirk Cousins pass. But is that something that also go back to your film study in the week?
Yeah, I knew that they were a play action team. So I knew that the other linebackers, it would kind of be difficult for them to see those passes coming back. So I knew that I had to help them out so that, they wouldn't get explosive plays on us. And so I knew that was going to be coming. So you just play deep. And I thought I was going to throw it to the guy short, but he tried me and, just went up and snagged it.
Yeah. I always lament as a fan that I don't think I enjoyed the periods of winning enough, and I kept on looking ahead to, well, let's win it next year. We've done it this year. This is great. But I was in Seattle for the parade. It was the coldest day of all time, and that was obviously a great day. But do you feel as a player you got to enjoy that time as much? And also, you had 10 years in the NFL. Do you get to enjoy it enough when you're actually in it? Because you're cheating life.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I feel like when I got injured, I started enjoying the game more. I started when I got back on the field, I started enjoying those moments because you never know when it's going to end. And so I started celebrating more, having fun with my teammates more. I stopped sweating the small stuff so much. Like when I would mess up, I didn't get so down on myself because, one day this will all be over. And so I believe that when I had my knee injury in 2018, I approached the game way differently as far as let's savor these moments. Let's savor these moments. Let's just have fun and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I think anything else, Adam? Of course,
one more. I'm interested in the fact that you often hear that millionaires should not be doing favors for billionaires, which I completely agree with when it comes to your guys' salary or whatever. Has there been any negative reaction in locker rooms at the fact that the salary cap is going to drop by 15 million this year? Because I feel like that's something that is a major thing. Like Jerry Jones can go to the bathroom and earn $15 million. And it just doesn't feel right that it's coming out of your guys' pockets. And especially with you going into free agency, has that caused any discussion or even friction across people?
No, we understand, like, they want to keep money in their pockets as well. And so we understand that COVID hit and there was no fans and, the whole world changed. And so it is what it is. Hopefully next season it goes back to where it should be. But we understand that this crisis that affected a lot of people. And so it'll be okay.
Bobby Wagner, back end of the season, said that your partnership in that middle of the defense for so long has been and is special. Is that how you would describe the last 10 years with number 54 side?
It's been special, man. Just like I said, the off the field relationship makes the on field relationship that much better. And so with me and Bobby, it's just amazing that we take it upon ourselves to be those guys, to be the example for everyone else. And so we can communicate without even talking to each other. We know what's coming. I know what he's thinking, and we're always in sync. And so it's just a beautiful thing to just have Coach Norton show us how it's done, and we put it out there on the football field.
Awesome. I think we're going to let you go. I think because obviously you've done far enough more time than most people, even probably. I think Adam normally checks out after 20 minutes. So we really do appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. And we hope, as we said, you are back in Seattle in 2021 and 2022, 23 and 24. And we hope to be in the stadium when your name goes up in that Ring of Honor, whenever that happens as well. And we hope you get what you want, what you deserve at the next few weeks as well. But yeah, massive thanks for jumping on the podcast with us.
And also on behalf of all of the UK Seahawks fans and fans worldwide, like, thank you for what you've done for this team, because as I say, I don't think we realized how good we had it, and you were a crucial part of that. And it's a privilege to get to speak to you. And you'll never get the thanks you deserve as much as you get. You'll never get as much you deserve for what you did for a whole city and a nation. And we are 5,000 miles away, and we still feel it. No
doubt, man. Thank you guys, man. Truly enjoyed it.
Awesome. Also, we need to find out where you got that jacket from as well. So
I got you. I'll try to mail you one.
There you go.
Cheers, KJ.
All right, fellas. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Are you still there, KJ?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And